What's good, YouTube? Hypnoctoad here, welcoming you back to our next deck profile on the channel. Now today we're actually jumping down into the lower format, and I'm going to be showing you a deck that I created just for fun. It's not competitive at all, it's just here because I had an idea, I wanted to throw it together, so I built it, and I felt like maybe I could profile it, and somebody would find it on here if they're searching for something that kind of coordinates with this. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this deck. Like I said before, it's not competitive whatsoever. So if you're looking for a competitive deck that will win, do not watch this because this is just for a fun little, hey, this is what I can do, see if you can get out of it sort of situation. So as you can see, right now you see the first card on there is a Rescue Rabbit. Now that is because this is actually a Dino Rabbit deck. Now I know that Dino Rabbit was feared back in the day, a few formats ago. It was a gruesome deck to go against because Yugioh and Dolka just ruled over the playing field and you couldn't really get around them. Since then, they've kind of been destroyed by everything in the meta right now with your Reformer Pals, with your Cosmo, with your Monarchs. You can't really get anything done. So I was trying to make a deck that could possibly spit them out a little bit faster, and this is what I came up with. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into my Dino Rabbit deck with a little twist. So as you saw before, our first card of the deck is the one Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is an amazing card for this deck. It really gets the engine going. It's really the only way you can actually play this deck. There are other ways, honestly, with this deck I could have ran with, but I kind of wanted to build it around the way that it was built back in the day, and that was with the Rescue Rabbit and with a few other cards. This card is amazing. When I'm playing this deck, I wish it was at 3. The second I take this deck apart, I'm going to be happy that it's at 1 because I do not want to see this card when I'm playing other decks and I run into an Evil Swarm deck and they top deck the Rescue Rabbit. So, Rescue Rabbit at 1. Next up we have our 3 Sabersaurus. Like I said, I was building this deck around the way it was built back in the day, so you got your 3 Sabersaurus in here, as well as your 3 Kabazals. Those are your normals in the deck that you use with your Rescue Rabbit. So those are there as well. Now moving on, I did say that this was with a twist. I was really trying to figure out a way to keep this deck as dino as possible. So I did incorporate the Dinomist deck inside of it. So right there was the Dino Rabbit portion of it. Now we're going to be moving on to the Dinomist portion of the deck. So we have our 3 Dinomist Rex, because not only can you make Yugioh and Dolka in this deck with your Rescue Rabbit, you can also use the Dinomist to make your Infinities, make everything else that you can do with your rank 5 XYZ spams. So we're playing our 3 Dinomist Rex, because it's an amazing card. It's like an Ignister for the deck. It does so much work. It can attack twice on a different monster if you tribute a monster. So you can attack with that monster first, then attack with Dinomist Rex, tribute that other monster off, then attack again with it. Really helps breaking down boards. This deck seems to have a problem with going off of really huge boards and you can't really get around. So we try and spam the deck, or spam the field as quickly as possible with monsters that can possibly get around that field, that whatever they may have thrown up on that field at the time. Next up we're playing our Searcher, 3 Dinomist Terran. It's an amazing card, it helps you search. The only problem I really find in it is that it has a low attack. It only has 1800 attack. And I really feel like if this card is going to be as good as it should be with being able to search out the Dinomist, it needs to be stronger. Because of that, we do have to play 3 of the next card, 3 Dinomist Plesios. This card is really good as well. It allows to lower your opponent's monster's attack by however many Dinomist cards you have on the field. That includes your Dinomist Charge. So say you have this and a Rex out and then a Dinomist Charge, it loses 300 attack. Plus your Pendulum Scales, which are usually out as well, so it's down 500 attack. So this works really well. Allows your monsters that don't have that high of attack to be able to push over monsters that otherwise would have easily destroyed you. Next up, we are playing 3 Dinomiceratops. I was really trying to figure out ways to make sure that the scales were kind of equal. The 3s and 6s were kind of equal within the deck. That way I didn't have just 3s in my hand or just 6s in my hand. I wanted to be able to get out both at the same time. That way I can get my plays going, especially turn 1 when I sometimes might be able to luckily draw that Rescue Rabbit so I can get it on the field and get Yugioh on the field as fast as possible. One thing also I want to mention, a lot of people say that Pendulums are kind of dying now because of Monarchs, because with Domain on the field they can lock you down. This deck kind of stops that in a way, just because you can special these from your hand without having to Pendulum summon them, and you can Pendulum summon from hand, and they're also at level 5. That way you can go ahead and Pendulum summon from the hand, or you can special one from the hand, and you can tribute that monster off to the extra deck, and then go ahead and put like a Rex on the field. Guess what? You now have a tribute summon monster, so then you can Pendulum summon from the extra deck and do whatever you want with your deck. Doesn't really matter as long as you have the pendulum, that should be summon monster on the field. So that's a way that you can kind of get around the domain lock that monarchs tend to put on the field whenever they're playing against pendulums. Next up, we are playing 2 of a new card that just came out, Dinomist Spinos. This is an amazing card in and of itself. I would argue that it is one of the best cards in the deck, just behind Rex, because Rex has that Ignister effect and it can attack twice. Whereas this card right here is great because you can tribute one of your monsters, one of your Dinomist monsters, and you can attack twice. Not only that, but you can tribute a monster and you can attack directly. So I believe, I saw this in another video, so don't quote me on this, because I haven't seen it verified anywhere, but I believe that if you tribute 2 monsters with this, you can attack directly twice. So I believe you would activate this first effect to tribute a monster, because it doesn't say you can only activate one of these effects once per turn. So you activate its first effect to attack directly, you tribute a monster, and you activate a second effect, tribute a monster to attack directly twice. So it works really well. If that does work out, you now have 5,000 damage on the board, and it's going to be pretty hard to stop. A lot of decks aren't really playing traps right now, so I feel like that's really good in this way. It also helps you get around those large boards that you can't really get around otherwise. So 2 of the new card. Now because we are playing 2 of those, I actually have bumped my number down for the Brachion. I was playing 3 of this just so I could keep the levels equal, but because this new card came out, I went ahead and I took out 2 of the Brachion and put in the 2 Spinos. Which, yet again, it's a good card. A lot of people are saying just take this out in general, but I like its special effect from hand as well, so it really works out. Moving on out of the Dinomist section, we are playing a few hand traps and 1 special card that I really think works well in the deck. We are playing the 1 Thunder King Ryo. Now why Thunder King Ryo, you might ask? Because this deck only has 3 searching cards, besides the Terran, which sometimes, if ever, rarely gets off. So if you can make an Infinity along with this, or you can make a Logit along with this, it's going to be really hard to get around, just because they usually have to search cards out to try and go ahead and make you negate things. So I think this works really well with your Logits or Infinities, because you do have that negation on hand ready to go, but they can't search. So they're going to have to try and use the cards in their hand to make you negate. So I think that's really well. And you can tribute this to negate a summon. So if, say, you don't want to use Logit's effect when they special summon, guess what? You got this guy right here. Moving on to our actual hand traps, we are playing the 2 Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler just stops a lot of things right now that are going on the field. So it also slows down your Monarch plays, so it just works really well. I love 2. People are saying side it, main it, whatever. I'm just going to main it for now until I find more cards to actually use with it. I might end up using other cards in the future, like the new Cherry card, depending on what I'm playing. And then our final monster in the deck is the 2 Maxi. I did learn that this deck wants to go second. It doesn't really want to go first. You kind of want to see what they're doing first before you start making your plays, because you don't want to XC summon right away. Sometimes you just want to go an all-out attack first, and then after that, during your main phase 2, you can make your Infinities or your Logias or whatever you really need to do. But I mean, main phase, you want to special summon like your Rex and your Spinos, send things away, do whatever, and attack directly, do whatever you need to do, get some damage in, and then make those. Because in all honesty, Infinity isn't quite that good turn 1, because there are a lot of ways they can get rid of it. So I feel like getting rid of their monsters first, lowering their card advantage, and then making Infinity works out really well. Now, like I said before, we do have 3 searchers in the deck. We have our 3 Dinomist Charge, allows you to add a Dinomist to your hand, and then if it's sent to the extra deck, you can add it back to your hand instead, so that works really well. Also boosts up their attack. And because Upstart is down to 1 now, we are playing 2 Moray of Greed. Now because most of all the Dinomist monsters are water, as well as Kabu's also water, this works really well in the deck, because usually you're always going to have at least 2 waters in your hand, and it just helps you dig deeper into your deck so you can find the combo cards to help get your plays off. And then we also are playing the 1 Upstart Goblin, because it is at 1, and 39 cards is better than 40. And then we have the 2 Instant Fusion for the Norden and the Panzer Dragon. Works really well. We have our 2 MSTs. These you don't really see that often. You don't really want to use them often. Usually it's just that 1 pesky back row that you don't really want to go against, because you know it's Escald and Scolding, and you know if you do anything, they're just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to take this 3,000 damage and then negate whatever. So it can work with that. It can hit Domain if you really need to. It just works really well. And then our final 3 cards in the main deck, we're playing the 1 Dynamic Power Load. This isn't really a Dinomist per se deck, so you don't really need to power them up too much, but I felt like just having one in there, just to have it in there, works really good. And then we are playing 2 destruction cards, because as I mentioned before, this deck kind of has an issue dealing with really big fields. So we're playing the 1 Raigeki and the 1 Dark Hole, just because if you do have combo cards in hand, say you maxi and they give you 2 or 3 cards, and you got that Dark Hole and your Raigeki in the hand, you can do that real quick, and then you can just go ahead and make like a giant beastly field. So it works really well getting around those really heavily built fields, as well as with Monarchs. If they don't control a chippy summon monster, you can kind of do whatever you want. So if you can get rid of that, because a lot of people aren't playing March, well, have fun. Moving on to the extra deck real quick so I can get this done quickly. We are playing 3 fusion. We're playing the 1 Norden and the 1 Panzer Dragon for instant fusion targets, and then we're also playing the 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, because we are playing Cyber Dragons in the side deck for the Cosmo matchup, as well as they are level 5, so you can Tribute Summon if you need to, or you can special summon it, and then just kind of go off from there. You can make your level 5s with that as well, because it is a machine. Okay, then we are playing Xyz. We're playing the 1 Evilsaur Dalka and 1 Evilsaur Logia for our Dino Rabbit area. I felt like I probably could have fit in more, but I wanted to focus more on getting 1 out and then sitting on it and protecting it, than having to try and force out 2 or 3 of these things. Especially because we're only playing the Logia, or the Cobblesaws and the Sabersaurus. We're not playing anything else like the Guaibas that can get them out. Next up, we have generic rank 4s. We have the 1 Dinomist Diamond Dire Wolf. Wow, not Dinomist, Diamond Dire Wolf. We have the 1 Abyss Dweller, probably one of the best cards in the deck in the rank 4 Xyz area. The 1 Castel, and then the 1 Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Moving on to the 5s, we are obviously going to be playing the 1 Nova and the 1 Cyber Dragon Infinity, because this does have Dinomist in it, and when you're playing Dinomist, if you don't have these in it, you're not really playing Dinomist. And then finally, rounding it up, we have the 1 Volcasaurus and the 1 Durandal. Volcas in there to help push over some monsters you might not be able to destroy, and you can get some good damage on them. And then Durandal is just one of a really good rank 5 right now, in my opinion. And then finally, the 1 Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger. So that is the entire deck. I hope that you did enjoy. Like I said before in the very beginning, this is not a competitive deck whatsoever. If you think this is a competitive deck, then you are lying to yourselves. But if you did enjoy this video and you did want to make it yourself, go ahead and make it. Go ahead and play it. Don't let other people judge you. Just have fun with it. If you do see anything that could change with this deck, make sure to make suggestions down below in the comment section, because I always take advice and I always try to talk to every single person who comments on my videos, unless they're really vulgar. So if that's all I really got from now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you did enjoy, make sure to give 2 thumbs up, because all your support is greatly appreciated. But until next time, guys, this is the Hypnotic Toad signing out for now. Peace out!